What's going on, guys? So we're here. This is going to be one of our first sessions of Keep It or Flip It. We always talk about how we purchase properties or when we decide to either flip it or keep it, depending on the numbers. And today we're going to be covering on one of our newest investment properties. Actually, not newest one, but something that we've done in the past that represented a really good profit. And I'm going to be breaking it down for JP right now because he's been asking me about how did we do it and how can he learn it as well, so then when he's faced with the opportunity or when an opportunity presents itself, then he's going to be able to know what to say, how to structure it and everything else, and that's what we're going to be doing. So everybody, Judge Preet JP Singh is one of our investment analysts here at the office. You can call him a real estate professional, you can call him a real estate agent, you can call him a real estate investor, whatever the case. At least we learn how to do deals at this office, not just regular traditional real estate. He's well faceted in the business, and he's learning on a consistent basis. So let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's go. All right, JP. So that deal that you asked about that we made, or that we bought it for like $14K.
Yeah, the main reason I ask is because you said you bought it for $14,000. You helped those buyers list their property, and I represented them on the buy side.
Right.
Yeah, man, I want to know how you bought it for $14K and made over 6 figures in profit, because I saw the closing statement, man.
Yeah, you did.
That's insane. So
Yeah.
break it down.
So, okay, when you're dealing with people and relationships and everything else, in this case, this was a seller who needed to get the property auditor's name. You know, him and his wife, or his wife, they had another apartment they were moving into. The upkeep on that one house was just very, very bad. The pool wasn't working. There was just a lot of things that were wrong with the property. And not that he didn't have the money to do anything, he just needed a way out. And I initially got that person from a relationship that I built by selling their home. So it was a straight referral. So the way we broke it down is they owed about $8,000 or so on, in back payments. So they owed about $8K in liens, back payments. They were behind on their mortgage payment as well. And their mortgage payment was only like $800-900, but they were behind about, 3 or 4 months. Because they kind of just removed themselves from it. They weren't emotionally attached anymore. And being in this business for a long time, you know that as well now, being a great real estate agent, professional, that when people become emotionally attached to something, it's harder for them to let go of it, right?
No, definitely.
But when they remove their emotions, what ends up happening? Like, they don't care anymore. So that's kind of what happened here. I still wanted to help them out. So I figured out a way that they were able to, or I was able to keep that lender or that loan in place, because they owed about $150,000 in a loan, which wasn't too bad. The payment there was about $1,100, okay, per month, roundabout, with taxes and insurance. So I created a format for him to remove the property from his name, leave the loan in his name, okay? So in essence, I did this subject to existing mortgage. I had to come up with $8,000 plus an additional, I think it was another $6K, something like that, for closing costs. So this is the title, the escrow fees, all that good stuff. So my total out of pocket obviously was $14,000. Okay, this is out of pocket. And it doesn't seem like much, but what happens is after being in so many conversations with sellers, it's like, what do they want?
Right.
So we ended up breaking it down, and I told him exactly what I was going to be doing. And he's like, all right, this is perfect. I took over his loan of $1,100, okay? That means the loan stays in his name, and I now have title. I go through escrow, I have title insurance, the whole thing. This is where this amount came from. The $6K in closing cost, the $8,000 for like tax liens. I think that's what it was.
Your initial buying, correct?
Correct. That's my out-of-pocket expense to purchase the property. And because of which, we were able to secure it. Now, that six-figure check that you were talking about after it closed, well, it wasn't 14,000 and then I made a six-figure check.
Right.
It was 14K plus the rehab, okay? Because after I secured it, I had to remodel the property, and that property needed about $43,000, okay? So this is of real money. So now my out-of-pocket expense is the 43,000 plus the 14, okay? That's $57,000 out of pocket. That is what I have invested in that house. Okay, this is what people don't see on the other end. They just see the 14,000. Oh, I want to buy a house for 14K. But the only way I was able to do so is by providing solutions to that seller, because that seller was emotionally detached and he needed to be out.
You focused on the problem.
I focused on the problem, created a solution for him.
Okay.
And then that $57,000 that I had invested, well, that was for another conversation. I ended up borrowing some money, so it was really nothing out of pocket because and that's for something else. We'll talk about that later. But in essence, if I had this $57,000 in my pocket, that's what it cost me to remodel the whole place. Now I put it on the market, and yes, did the market increase? 100% it did. So it was perfect timing. And this is where you came in. You represented that buyer, and then you ended up giving us a great offer that we took. And then that's why. So at the moral of the story is when you help someone, you're able to help yourself down the road. I didn't know it was going to be that kind of a profit at all.
Right.
It was more like, you know what? I'm helping them. In essence, I was going to keep the house.
So how much of that profit went to, I guess what does the seller walk away with in that scenario? I mean, the loan stayed his name and you sold the house. How does it break?
So in this case, the $6,000 plus the 8K, that was a total of 14. He made about $3 or $4 grand on the deal.
Okay.
That's it.
Because he was probably in like so much pain, he kind of just needed a...
Unfortunately, he was in that situation by his choices.
Right.
And everybody has them. If you don't pay your bills, well, you're going to be in that situation too. So in this case, because I felt bad, he had a family and everything else. So after we ended up selling it, JP, I called him up and I said, hey man, I got a bonus for you. Because I didn't know we were going to make that kind of money. So I ended up giving him like $9,000 extra.
I requested a bonus too.
And I don't think you got it though.
No, I did. No, that's awesome though. So you of course saw that you made a decent amount of profits.
Right.
And you put yourself in a position to be able to help him too.
Yeah.
What was the reaction to that?
Oh man, he was so excited about it all because, like, how many investors do you know that will sell something and then call up the seller and say, hey, I did really well. Here's extra money.
No, yeah, that's
it doesn't happen. So we ended up doing that, and I ended up paying him another $9K. He was so freaking happy. His wife called me as well and said thank you so much, because they knew we made some decent money, but they didn't know how it all. I mean, we put a lot of money into this house, so
right.
To them, they're like, hey, this makes our year.
Yeah.
So I gave him that extra money, and what's crazy, I went from a lead to a conversation a couple times, to a relationship that we established, to the result by getting the deal closed. And then the referral after that, he referred me to 2 more people because of what I put them through and that happiness that he wanted to share with other people. So it's pretty cool that a seller ended up giving me a couple more referrals that I initially bought the house from. I mean, that normally doesn't happen, but it does when you put them first.
Yeah, because you don't hear a lot of wholesalers building relationships. It's more of just sign the contract, close, have a nice day. So just be able to see that you did that. It's awesome, and the $57,000. I'm sure they saw that you put that into the property. So you making them profits, I'm sure to them is no problem at all.
Yeah, no, and you said something just now about being a wholesaler. I'm not a wholesaler.
Right.
Neither are you. We establish situations and we provide solutions for anybody. You could be a real estate agent, can be a real estate investor. You can end up being a wholesaler by just letting go of the contract. Or you take it and you flip it like I did here. My initial exit was going to be keeping the home.
Yeah.
Because at $1,100, bro, I mean, that's $1,100 a month, right? And I can rent it for 18.
Even more with the pool in today's market.
Exactly.
$2,500.
I mean, if I had it right now, $2,500 a month, and that means I'm making, what is that, $1,300, $1,400 a month in positive cash flow. But I decided to take the, 130 or whatever it is that we made on the profit end, because then you can reinvest it and everything else.
Absolutely.
But it just goes to show you, and I know I wanted to break this down to you for a while now. I know you kept asking, but does that make a little bit of sense on how I broke it all down?
Awesome. I mean, it's a matter of just, providing the most solutions, and as well as, putting the seller's interest before your own, because you've clearly showed that even by putting the seller's interest first, you can win big. So that's awesome.
And it's not us winning big, it's the sellers winning big as well, because you put them out of their situation and you help them start their next chapter.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone.
That's ultimately the key. So in closing, it's, people first before profits.
Yeah, that's awesome. No one else is doing this. It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking it down so detailed.
Dude, no, for sure, man. And hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. And that's it, guys. So that's our keep it or flip it. And this is why we end up flipping this property, breaking it all down, explaining it to JP on exactly how we established it, how we acquired it, what was our exit, and why the main ingredient was the seller to help more of them out there. And then you're going to in turn get the results down the road. So hope it helps. See you guys on the next one.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.